Okay guys, so we are back. My caramel that was pre-wrapped, I unwrapped it. I melted it down with just a little bit of milk just to make it, to keep it from sticking. I have my chocolate ready to go in the double boiler so that it will melt. And then we will dip the pecans that are already covered with the caramel in them. So that's our next step. I am exploring with this particular chocolate, and we're gonna see. We're going to see what it does, because that is what I have on hand. So this is part 2 of our making chocolate covered pecans. So while I allowed my syrup to thicken a little, because once it gets cooled down pretty well, it's going to thicken. And you want the texture of these pecans with this caramel to be delicious. So I feel that it has cooled down well enough, and we're just dropping it over the actual size that we want the pecans to be. Let me grab a spoon. A spoon is a better tool to use to measure. So what you're doing is just eyeballing the size of the turtle you would like to create with this caramel. And once it adheres to this caramel, then that's whatever size it will be. Now, what do you do with the extra caramel? You will see shortly. Let me see. So I wanted to get at least 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got to work with it while it's still pliable. And this is what we're doing right here, so we can get number 7. Because I don't waste anything, guys. See all of that caramel? We ain't wasting that. No. We'll put it right over top. Do the same for this one. Because you want a nice portion of caramel in each bite. Yes, honey. We're gonna scrape it until we can't scrape the bottom of this pan anymore. I'll put a little more on that one. You want the texture of your caramel in your turtles to be delicious. And you want it to be so that it can not crack any teeth, or you don't want the hard texture of toffee. And I have made toffee turtles as well. So I'm just working to get that caramel from off of there. I could have poured it, but what fun is that if you can eyeball it and use your eye-hand coordination and bringing it all together to make a sensible sized turtle. So these are going to go in the refrigerator for a couple of minutes, just so that it all comes together, and temperature of this candy, which is still moderately a little warm, can solidify. Yes, I know I'm working behind the scenes, but I'm here. Hopefully this will help someone that has a budget and you want to do something special for your Valentine or for a special someone. Well, here you have it. You can make this all year long for getting well and for weddings, bridal showers. People love it when you have nice presentations of things on display and so on. So I know you may be looking at this and say, oh, that's a lot of work. But this is just my version. This is what I'm doing. Now, if I were to use a store-bought type of caramel, that would probably work just as good. Just as good. So what you want is your caramel to be soft, and my hands are clean, to the touch. You want, when people bite into this, for it to be just a little gooey. So once you have refrigerated your caramel, that is what gives you preparation and making them ready for the next step. If your pecans are not covered or touching, kissing the caramel, it's a chance that it's probably not going to be incorporated in that particular shape. Remember that you want your little disc of your candy to be touching. I know there's an easier way you can do it. Make your caramel a little thicker. But I only had like a handful of pieces, so I had to work with what I had, girl. So one of the things that makes it taste really good is some really good quality sea salt. And this is not the one that's iodized. I'm sorry, hold on. Let me get it together. I have a sea salt. Sea salt. Sea salt just gives it a nice taste, just a little sprinkle. You're not trying to season it, just a few sprinkles. You will be surprised how it makes it taste so good. All right, guys, these are going in the refrigerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And like I said, once it solidifies and it hardens just a little, then it will be good for dipping. Actually, let me see if I can put it in my freezer. Okay, so I put it in the freezer, and the interest of time. And then I just want to show you how my chocolate is melting down very, very well. So guys, what I'm going to do is just show you another tip. You might say, well, how did you get all of that caramel from out of your pot, cleaning your pot? You just run hot, scalding, boiling water from the faucet. It's just that easy. Just because my water here in Maryland is hot. So I'm just gonna run that hot water. Clean off my spoon. Cleaning off my spoon, guys. Because I need my spoon. Guys, I want to share a helpful hint about chocolate to you. See how nice and clean it is once I have run the scalding hot water over it. I'm going to clean up a little. These are working, guys. These are small little Hershey's Kisses without any nuts. They're just plain. I'm getting ready to show you what we're working with in just a few minutes. So we're making chocolate turtles. And the first thing I did was looked at the amount of ingredients I had to work with. That's number one. I unpackaged these little beauties. I had about a good dozen, I want to say, of the actual caramel pieces. And these were individual pieces that were already packaged, already made into caramel. And now chocolate is almost ready. You have to be prepared because when you're working with candies or anything of that nature, maybe you got to be ready. The next step that I am going to take while the turtles are in the freezer, getting a little coolness to it because of the caramel being a little hot, I have on the stove top melted down on a double boiler my chocolates, and it worked very well. These are very inexpensive. If you don't have the budget to buy the big 2 or 1 pound bag, look at this. This is all I needed. I used about 13 of these candies. Melted them down, honey. That was under $6. Okay. The caramel was something I already had on hand, but if you have a tight budget, let me show you something else that you can use. Caramel syrup. Caramel syrup. If that's the kind of budget you're on, use what you have. And I'm going to show you how that caramel actually looks. I have one already opened. It has a pouring spout. Now you see the texture here. Look at that. All right. Once that is placed on top of your caramel bites, on top of the pecans that you have already you know, cooked a little and just made them taste just incredibly delicious. You always want to roast your pecans, your nuts, or what have you on the stove. Always and forever. Look at that. That works. If you were to put that on pecans, I bet it would still work just as well as this one. It's just a little more runny, but that's okay. Now, we're waiting for our pecans to just get a little cooler, and I am going to use a little flavoring of peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is what you want in the form of an oil when you're working with baking. You don't want to put regular extract because it will damage the whole entire recipe with whatever ingredients it has. Oil is what you want when you're working with candies. A very little goes a very, very long way. Okay, now we're ready for our next step. And we are making what? Turtles, and I just want to taste it. Very nice. Very nice. After we have dipped our caramel pecan chips in the chocolate, then we are going to let them rest in the refrigerator. I hope y'all are getting this. While we have let these sit, there are nice dials that you can lift up and pick up, and the texture is still nice and soft. Guys, I'm going to show you something. I have, that I bought from a local Dollar Tree, purchased a cute little tin. And once all of our candies have cooled down and cooled off, guess what, honey? I'm going to put those candies inside of the little paper cupcake holders inside my tin pan. That gives it a nice presentation. Now, you want to use the small, the very smallest, because the regular size cupcake holders are not going to fit anything more than maybe 3. And if you purchase, or I'm sorry, use the small ones, it's a little better. You all excuse my hands, they are clean. Okay, you see how nice that came out? We're going for the next one. The reason why I have this baker's mat is because you don't have to worry about your food sticking and not being able to get it to cooperate. Once again, once these are placed in the refrigerator for a couple of minutes, honey, you good to go. What? Who's spending a whole lot of money on Valentine's Day when you got skills? You better look at this video, rewind it, and do whatever. Look at that. Yeah, I'm manhandling it because in the interest of time, I just want you all to see what you can DIY at home. Look at this. I thought to myself, hold on. I can do that myself on a dime. There is absolutely, positively nothing wrong, baby, in spending your monies on that expensive candy. But coming from the heart, when you have done it with your own hands, child, please, look at that. If you're making this with children, make sure that they understand the science of it all. This can be a science lesson. What happened once you put the candy in the refrigerator? It all stuck together. You have to let the chocolate cool off first so that you don't melt your caramel, because that could potentially happen. Again, I used about 13 to 14 of these, of these chocolate candies. And hold on, baby. Let me get it all together here, because we ain't wasting nothing. We have one more to cover. When you use a rubber spatula, rubber spatulas are really great at getting things all well combined. Am I a pro? Nope. I like the science of it all. I love science. I always did, even in school. I just didn't like the math portion of science when we had to do all of that. Look at this, y'all. Huh. You don't want to put them too close together for them to kiss. Guys, when you DIY, look what you have. And especially when you get the children involved, you can teach them how to do it yourself and be potential bakers or candy makers or something like that. Once again, these are going to have to be refrigerated. And as you can see, what happens, boys and girls, once you have all of the chocolate on the pecans, it stays in place. It stays together. Again, you have to be patient when you are making something of this magnitude so that your candy does not interrupt the process of things cooling off. Once again, we have some coarse sea salt, just a hair, just a taste. You're not trying to season it. And again, while this is going in the refrigerator, freezer, I'm going to show you the last and final step. Okay, make sure you saw that pretty well. Those are turtles, baby. Chocolate covered turtles. Now, I made mine the size of what a traditional turtle would look like. And you could make them smaller. And I'm going to show you what you can use make your turtles smaller. One of the things you can use are these little dials. See that? These work very well, but this is the shape that they will be. They won't look as appetizing or traditional, but that's what you could use. Now, let's get into the packaging of it, guys, because that's the most important thing. I purchased all of this online. This right here, you just take this paper, and I chose this particular pattern because I wanted something that looked like it said Valentine. You can just crinkle it down however you want. And like I stated, if you are using the size turtles that I created just now, only 3 in this particular size package is going to work. If that. You could eliminate using those and just put the candies inside. Just crinkling up the paper just helps to make it look more festive. Now, one thing I will tell you is whomever you are giving this to, they are going to love it. It is going to be such a blessing when you give from your heart. And this says, be mine, Valentine. So I have to have to really shine and polish that up really well. We're waiting for the candy. And then we're gonna come right back. Well, guys, it's all done. We are going to package up our chocolate covered turtles. Are you ready to see? Count with me, everyone, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, on 1, 2, 3. They are ready and as beautiful as you can see. They have gone from being warm or hot to now, look at the texture of it. They're cold, and if you tap it a little, it's cold. So I have a special spatula that I am going to be using. I use this for my cookies, and it's not as wide angled as a regular spatula. So teachers, moms, homeschooling, if you are doing this exercise with your young people, you want to talk about the science of it all. And let me just flip it on the side. Look at that. Do you see the turtle sticking through? Yes. You just simply put it in. You want to try and keep all of the sizes that are close together. The same. That's another lesson. Same. Any extra chocolate that you see hanging off, just clip it off. And this can be a sampler for someone. How nice is that? That's the whole idea, is to do it yourself so that whoever the recipient is will be so excited and impressed. Look at that. Chocolate turtles. Look at there. You want to comfortably put them in your candy box. And there's no need in worrying about whether or not they're going to stay fresh, because I guarantee you, whenever I make these for my friends and my family, they don't last. They are not going to last, and you just simply cover it up. Just like that. Now, it may have maybe one or two mini in there, but you can take a little tape and tape it down on the sides. Just take a little tape. Don't smash it, but just tape it down on the sides. And when they open this up, oh my goodness, did you make that for me? That's what they're gonna say. And that's how you get it done, guys. Now let's explore tasting. Here's the fun part about DIYing with children. Children like to see, touch, feel, and let's not forget, taste. So, you let them feel the texture. Does it feel soft in the middle? Yes. What happens when we cut it? You don't let them use this knife because you need a sharp knife. And there you have it. You cut a piece. Here's your piece. Take the first bite. And look at the caramel. You can see all of the layers. And that's how you DIY chocolate turtles, guys. I certainly have enjoyed helping you with this party tip from Annie the Kinder Clown's kitchen to your home and your heart. Happy Valentine's Day. God bless you. And your Valentine in a very special way. Bye-bye.